Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about Martin Scorsese's new statements. Well, not a new statement, but his reiteration that superhero movies and big blockbusters and franchises aren't real cinema. He really hates superhero movies like the MCU and the DCEU um, because to him, they aren't art and they're just very cookie cutter. Uh, Everything's very predictable, in his opinion. So I wanted to address his controversial statements because, well, obviously he is a very popular and influential filmmaker, and he comes out every now and again to give his opinions on superhero movies. And someone who is like a big fan of superhero movies, I just wanted to like make a response and give my thoughts on his his statements. Okay, so I agree to a certain extent. I do understand what he's saying, that it's not real cinema, so to speak. Um, I understand what he's saying because a lot of times in these superhero films, obviously the appeal is that they are super, so they have extraordinary abilities that somebody in real life could never have. Some of them can fly, they have super strength, or invulnerability, super speed, teleportation, mind control, telekinesis, matter manipulation, things like that. So they have these fantastic abilities, and most of the time they use them for the good of mankind or their city, or whatever the case may be. So that's always been the appeal of superhero movies, is that if you're like a little kid and you're watching these movies, it's like, man, that's amazing. People wanted to be Iron Man so badly, in 2008 when Iron Man came out. And, people love Batman and love Spider-Man. These are like very beloved heroes. And they have such power and abilities and resources a lot of times, to where yes, they have to struggle, but we always know, as the audience, we always know that they're going to win, right? We always know that they're going to beat the bad guy, and the bad guy is going to go to jail. And the hero wins, and they save the day, and then they get all of the praise and the glory. So I think his statements are kind of, I understand where he's coming from, because as the audience, we're watching these films and it's like, yeah, we know the hero is going to win. But where he may be wrong is it's not always so predictable, because in Endgame, or not in Endgame, but in Avengers Infinity War, that's the first time we ever really saw a villain win. Everybody thought, well, of course Thanos is gonna lose. Like, the Avengers always win. They're gonna beat Thanos and the heroes are gonna win. That wasn't the case. And the Avengers and Infinity War is a perfect example of a film that kind of proves Martin Scorsese wrong on his critique on the superhero genre. I believe Marvel's Avengers Infinity War is the greatest superhero movie of all time, if we're talking about traditional superhero films. So, like, not including like the Dark Knight trilogy, because the Dark Knight is not really a superhero film in the traditional sense. Same with the Batman. Same as Watchmen. There are some films that they feature superheroes, but the way they're constructed, they're not a traditional superhero film. But anyway, yeah, I think Infinity War is like the greatest superhero film ever made. Um, I love it. You know, there's so much, there's so much development and story, you know, from all sides. Thanos, Gamora, you know, the Guardians with, you know, Peter and them fighting Thor, and, you know, he explains his loss, and, you know, Captain America joining back up with Iron Man after, you know, after Civil War, you know, the Battle of Wakanda, you know, where uh, Black Panther has all the Avengers there, and he's, you know, kind of there to protect Vision so that they don't get the Final Stone, and of course the battle on Titan with, you know, Spider-Man and the Guardians and Doctor Strange. You know, it was just so, it flowed so well. You know, it was almost like a space opera in a way. You know, it was fantastic. I really love Infinity War. So I don't believe that superhero movies are all just, you know, just CGI messes and superpowered beings flying around fighting and just bashing each other's heads in and destroying buildings. You know, I do believe there can be some really meaningful stories in the superhero genre. Um, so I disagree with him that all superhero movies are just super formulaic and predictable, because we've seen some really good superhero movies that tell great stories and have great characters. So I do understand where he's coming from, and I agree with him to a certain extent, but I don't fully agree with him. Um, the one movie that I know for sure that I'm like a big fan of from Martin Scorsese is Shutter Island, which is a psychological thriller. So I definitely have respect for the guy. He's a good filmmaker. You know, I respect his opinion. I just don't fully agree with his opinion on superhero films. So anyway, that is my opinion on his opinion. But I love superhero films. I've grown up on superhero films. Um, you know, whether it was, you know, Daredevil, you know, which gets so much hate, you know, from back in the day. You know, anything that's pre MCU, so basically anything before the Incredible Hulk in 2008, it gets like a lot of hate. But I love all that stuff. I love Daredevil from like 2003 with Ben Affleck. I like Hulk with Eric Bana. Um, Watchmen from, man, Watchmen's like from like 2007 or something. And I haven't watched that one since I was a kid, but I need to watch that one. Obviously, like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, grew up watching that. It was fantastic. Of course, the Dark Knight trilogy, grew up watching that as a kid. So, you know, I just love superhero movies. Hellboy, you know, I guess he's more of like a paranormal superhero, not a traditional superhero. You know, but I love the Hellboy films. Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, great film. And actually, I didn't see the first Hellboy until I got older, till I grew up, till like I was in my 20s. I hadn't seen the first Hellboy. Ended up really liking it. But yeah, I love superhero movies. Of course, oh yeah, X-Men. I can't forget X-Men. Um, like all of them. You know, grew up on like the original trilogy, and then they had the prequels, which were sequels, but technically prequels because they happened before the original timeline. Love most of those movies, especially Days of Future Past. I even like the Fantastic Four one from 2005, and Rise of the Silver Surfer was decent. So yeah, that's my opinion. Obviously, love superheroes and grew up watching the TV shows, playing with the toys, and you know, just the movies and everything. So that is my opinion on the superhero genre and Martin Scorsese's comments about the superhero genre and the whole film industry and the state of film right now. So let me know what you guys think. Just leave comments down below, and I will see you next time.